Hi there everybody, this is Dr. Troy Lee, holistic nutritionist and anti-aging expert. And today I'm going to show you how I make my own bread. And this is part of our 28-day Eat Real Food Challenge. And so hopefully if you are not already in that group, the link below will take you to our Facebook page where you can join the group. And the challenge is for you to eat real food for only 28 days. So today I'm talking about bread. So with the bread you find in the supermarket, most of it is highly processed. It has additives in it, preservatives in it. Besides that, there's an issue with once you mill flour, it immediately starts to lose its vital nutrients. So I'm going to show you how to quickly make your own flour just using a blender. I have my Ninja here, as you can see. And I'm going to show you how I make my own whole wheat flour and then proceed to make a loaf of bread. So I'm going to use this. And I think if I turn it around right there, you can see my bread machine. I do not try to knead my own bread and all the other wonderful stuff. I simply use the bread machine because it's easier. So folks, I have some organic hard wheat whole berries here. And Amazon is so beautiful because you can get everything you need on Amazon. And I'm gonna make a small loaf of bread because there's just 2 of us in our home, so I don't need to make a big loaf of bread. So I just need 2 cups of flour. So I've already milled some flour, but I'm gonna show you just how easy it is to mill flour here. So I have about 3/4 cup of flour here. I'm gonna put it in the Ninja. I'm gonna put the top on, and I'm gonna mix this for maybe about 30 or so seconds. You don't have to have it super fine. Yeah, that's perfect for me. Okay, so I've already milled some here. So I'm going for 2 cups of flour, and I have right at 2 cups, perfect. Hope you can see that. That's 2 cups of flour. Then I'm gonna get some warm water. It doesn't have to be hot, it just needs to be warm. And I'm just gonna get it right from the faucet since our water is already filtered, and it is well water, I like that. And I just need some warm water. Again, not hot water, but warm water. So let's say this is pretty warm. And the water needs to be warm so the yeast can activate. So that's warm enough. I need 1 cup of water. And again, I'm making a small loaf of bread. Bread is best when it's fresh. So if I make a huge loaf, we end up having to freeze it or we end up having to throw it out. So I much rather make a fresh loaf every 3 days or so. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to pour this warm cup of water right into my bread machine. You didn't see that, did you? Okay, so let me come back over and show you. I just poured 1 cup of water there. Then I'm going to step over to my fridge and get out the maple syrup. And I'm only going to put in 1 tablespoon of maple syrup. Can you all see me here? Yeah, okay. I'm going to put in a tablespoon of maple syrup. That also helps the yeast to activate. So this is a teaspoon measurement. So I don't feel like walking across the kitchen to get a tablespoon. So I'm just going to put in 3 teaspoons. And I hope you remember from school that 3 teaspoons equals 1 tablespoon. I'm sure you do. Okay. So I have warm water. I have 3 teaspoons of maple syrup. Then I'm going to add some salt. Now I only use Himalayan salt when I cook because this is filled with nutrients that your body needs. So I just kind of eyeball it in terms of how much salt I put in it. Technically I should be putting in a teaspoon, but I never do. I never use that much salt. So I have salt. Next I'm going to add my 2 cups of flour. And finally, I'm going to add yeast. Now, because if I were making a full loaf of bread, I would have used 4 cups of flour, but since I'm only making a half a loaf, I don't need a whole packet of yeast. So 1 packet contains about 2.5 teaspoons of yeast. So I'm going to put in a teaspoon of yeast. So I'm using a 1/2 teaspoon measurement. So 1 teaspoon should be more than sufficient for a half a loaf. That is 1/2 teaspoon. Yep. Make sure I got that right. Okay. There we go. And then I'm going to close the lid and hit the start button. Okay, I have it already set for whole wheat bread there. And I'm simply going to click start, and it's heating and it's ready to go. So we'll come back in about 3.5 hours after that does all the mixing for me, and I'll have fresh bread. So if you're going to eat bread, it really is best that you make your own. So this time around, I nailed it perfectly. You can see that that ball is holding together pretty well. There's not a lot of flour sticking to the sides of the pan. So yeah, we nailed it. Okay, it's about 3 hours later. It looks like the bread is all done because it's on the cooling cycle. So let's see. Take it off of here. And the hardest part about this bread maker is actually getting the bread out of the pan. And it's even harder when I do a shorter loaf because the loaf is so far down in there. So on the Zojirushi, you have to remove this pin right here so you can release the bread. So I'm going to pull that pin out, and it is still hot, so I don't want to burn my fingers. Just yanking this pin out here. Let me get another oven mitt. Okay, this is better. She doesn't want to come out today. There we go. So the pin is out. And then hopefully the bread will shake loose. Let's put this over here. Sometimes I have to use a knife to kind of force it out. I think I'm gonna have to use a knife today. I can hear that crust is pretty crunchy. She's coming up. I can hear her moving. And there you have it. A perfect half loaf of bread. All ready to go. Now I'm going to let this cool for about 15 minutes before I take a slice out of it. And again, this may last us 2 or 3 days, but I do like fresh bread, not stale bread. So there you have it, fresh bread from start to finish. And see how easy that was? Total involvement of my time was no more than 5 minutes total from the time I ground the wheat, put it in the bread maker, took it out the bread maker. So you can make your own fresh whole wheat bread with freshly ground flour. Talk to you later.